And what if you could keep more of your money and pay less in taxes? I guess we're really posing that question to everyone. You're going to give us the answer.
Let's do that.
Let's do that.
Okay, so I don't mind paying taxes. I know that I need to, and I know that the IRS is going to come looking for me if I don't.
You understand the rules.
I understand the rules.
That's the first start.
But if we can make sure that we're tax efficient with what we're doing and we're tax efficient with the dollars, then we can put more in your pocket and less goes to the IRS. I don't owe them any more than the bare minimum. And that's what I'd like to do for our families. So the first step in that whole process, though, how do we talk about this with our families? Helping educate them on how their investments are taxed. Which bucket is your investment in? Is it in the taxable bucket? Do you have to pay tax on the earnings every single year? Maybe it's tax deferred dollars like an IRA or a 401k, and how is that taxed? And then we love the tax-free bucket, which allows us to take money and we don't have to worry about how it impacts anything else because the IRS doesn't get any piece of it. The whole pie is all yours. In an IRA, you owe money to the IRS. You've literally created a partnership with them. The only problem is they hold all the cards because they're going to tell you when you have to take it out, and they're going to tell you what portion of that you have to give to them in the way of taxes. That's the only relationship I've ever been in where I don't know what the rules of the game are, right? They control it. So we want to be more efficient. Maybe that's moving money from a tax account to an after-tax account via a Roth conversion. Maybe that's setting up so that we understand what these tax bills are going to look like and making sure that we're efficient. I think that's kind of the paramount of where this needs to start because the overarching goal is to be more tax efficient with every dollar.
Okay, we're talking tax efficient strategies. I think there is this mindset out there from some people that these strategies are set into motion or set in place just for the super rich, the wealthy. What's your take on that?
Okay, so it used to be that people talked about having tax efficient strategies from an estate tax position. There's no estate or inheritance tax in the state of Kansas, so that's not an issue for state taxes. At the federal level, it's over $15 million per person. So unless you are uber wealthy, which I think 30 million for a couple is uber wealthy, but unless you're above that level, we're not talking about a big estate tax issue. I'm talking about just ordinary income tax. Ordinary income tax is what's going to be the driver that's going to erode some of the value of your portfolio. So that's what we really need to focus on. And that's for people that have, meager means and have more money. Ordinary income tax is going to impede on all of it. So how do we make sure that we understand it and that we can position our money in such a way to be more efficient?
And what are you and your team saying to those out there that are worried about taking too much risk with their money in retirement? And we know that there is this level of you got to put the brakes on a little bit, you got to move back a little bit, especially in the markets anyway.
Yeah.
But just taking risk, that's a scary prospect for a lot of people.
Well, most people are driven by two forces, greed and fear. Greed will push me into more aggressive investments. It will tell me that I need higher and higher returns because and so I'm putting more risk on the table. I think fear then pushes you into more protected investments and things that might not earn as much but are more predictable in nature, like a CD or a fixed annuity or something that at least increases your return and hopes to fight inflation. I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all risk parameter. I do think that people usually don't reduce their risk exposure as they transition into retirement because they've never done it before. So they don't really know that that's a piece of the plan and that's part of the process. And you usually can't do that in a 401k. And I say that specifically because most of the families that come in have a lot of their wealth in a retirement account that they created with their employer. And those employer plans are usually set up for pretty aggressive investment allocations. They don't have a lot of conservative options. There's not like a money market account or there may be a couple of bond mutual funds and that's about it. So by repositioning your money from a 401k into an IRA, which is an individual retirement account, we can invest in a lot of different things. We can reduce that risk exposure. We can make sure that we're in line with what you need those dollars to do. We can actually turn it into an income stream to you because 401ks weren't meant to do that. So it's our job to bring these different ideas and attributes to the table, make sure that we're in line, and make sure that the plan makes sense for you where you are today.
It's almost like during our working years, driving on the highway at 70 miles an hour is safe. You feel good about it, but you got to start you're driving into the neighborhood when you get into retirement, right? You got to let off the gas a little bit. You're not skirting around I've said that to my kids many times, just remember, there's many eyes in this neighborhood and they will be watching.
They're watching. Well, and you don't drive into your driveway at 70 miles an hour. When you come off the interstate, you get onto the side roads, you get down to that 50 and then 35. And then when you go into our neighborhood, we have one street that's 25. You have to start slowing down. And it does make sense from a time perspective. You don't have as much time on your side anymore. So if the storms come and the market does do whatever it's going to do, it's going to go up and it's going to go down. I don't know if everyone knows that, but guess what? That's what the market does.
I really liked your hand, the hand motions were perfect for it.
It's going to go up, it's going to go
similar.
down. That's what happens in the stock market. And not because I know something you don't, it's just because that's the nature of the market. We better make sure that what we do put at risk in the market, that you're okay with those ups and downs. And most people don't know what kind of risk they're putting on the table. And they might have gotten tremendous returns, but they might have bet the farm to get it. So our job is to make sure that we help our families understand if we're taking on this amount of risk, these are the results you might see, but you might also have risk exposure for loss on the downside. Are you okay with that? If you're not, let's find a different aspect. Let's create a different strategy.
Okay, very good.